Alrighty, today let's learn about narrative text. What is it and how is it made? So I've heard that narrative text is just stories about people, feelings and life experiences, and of course different times in history. But what is it really? Here's a definition we can work with. A narrative text is a piece of text which tells a story and entertains the reader or listener. It is a story with complications or problematic events and tries to find resolutions to solve the problems. Okay, so what I think this means is that someone has a problem, and then some complications that make that problem even worse. But then those events lead to a resolution of some kind, and perhaps even a realization that makes their situation better than it was before. Okay, so now we know what a narrative is, but how is a narrative text built? Here's a generic structure that all, or almost all, narratives follow. 1. Orientation, also known as exposition or beginning. And that means that the author sets the scene and introduces the characters, kind of just getting the story started. Hence the name beginning. Number 2. Complications, also known as rising action and the middle of the story. In other words, new problems arise that cause suspense and add to the conflict of the story, and these problems lead to the climax. Okay, an exciting middle story, rising action, getting you excited. All right, number 3, the resolution, which is also known as the ending. Okay, so we have a beginning, a middle, and an ending, and what this essentially means is that the conflicts are solved. Well, at least hopefully they're solved. So now we know the what. We know what narrative text is, and we know the how. We know how narrative text is created, but I feel like there's something more. I feel like there's something deeper. I think the author has some sort of obligation to the reader of their narrative text, some kind of job to make sure that this is an enjoyable experience. The author has a job to do to fulfill this obligation to the reader. 4 things this author needs to do. First, the author needs to establish settings and characters by using figurative language and using dialogue to establish attitudes, personalities, and relationships. We really need to get to know these characters and understand the time and location of the story to really jump in and be part of what's going on in the story. Second, the author's job is to explore ideas and feelings by inventing characters and situations. Here's an example of what an author could say to get us involved. His palms were clammy. His voice turned into a squeak. He wondered if he would ever be able to speak to a girl without sounding like Mickey Mouse. All right, I think some people can really relate to this, which helps us explore our ideas and our feelings connected to what the characters are feeling. All right, third, the author's job is to create tension and suspense with dialogue and a variety of sentence types, such as exclamations, questions, interrupted statements, etc. It is the author's job to get us into the story, help us kind of be anticipating what's going to happen to these characters in this setting. How are their ideas and feelings going to be expressed? Are they going to really realize what's going on in their life? Tension and suspense makes the story exciting. The author's job is to make it exciting. Okay, fourth, the author's job is to make the theme or message, the central idea, clear to the reader. A character may even make a comment that makes the message clear to the reader. It's really the author's job to make sure we, the readers, are learning something from this story, that it's not just fluff and a waste of our time. Whew, that's a lot of responsibility, but I think the writer of narrative texts is up for the task because they have something they want to share with the world, something important that only they can really convey. So as you read stories about people, ideas and feelings, and times past, keep in mind that it's the author's job to pull you into their story, to make you interested enough to keep reading and to discover what will happen to his or her characters by the story's end. All right, that's a narrative text. Now get out there and read some narrative texts. Enjoy yourself. Get to know some characters. Get reading. Happy reading!